You know that dossier of dirt that Fox News leaked that they had on Tucker Carlson? Well, it's starting to be uncovered, and boy, is it something in the grand scheme of things. Like, this is supposed to be that big own that was out there. Oh, Fox News definitely. They're gonna make Tucker's life a living hell before he ultimately signs a big streaming contract and then ends up getting a whole bunch of money. But we'll talk about the offer that is on the table here very, very shortly. But yeah, the leaked video that shows Tucker Carlson criticizing Fox streaming platform, it's not that bad, to be completely honest. Tucker Carlson slammed Fox Nation in behind the scenes video. Is being released by Media Matters. If you don't know about Media Matters, good. Your brain will thank you. But this is the big, this is the big one. They got you. They got him.
I don't want to be a slave to Fox Nation, which I don't think that many people watch anyway.
True.
We're gonna because I I'm like a representative of the American media now. Speaking to an exile in Romania and welcoming him back into the Brotherhood of Journalists.
Yeah, it would help.
Does this sound... Okay, because he's talking about Andrew Tate here in a second. Obviously, because who else from Romania do you even know? I'm sure that there's probably some obscure, some obscure athlete that's out there, which is also what you could say about Andrew Tate prior to June of 2022. But even still, okay. It also sounds like he's being, just a touch hyperbolic, if we're being completely honest, which Matthew Gertz isn't.
Help us out if you wore a sweater, though, because we asked him not to wear a suit. Like, he was panicking about it. So you don't have to. Tucker's going to be looking casual. That's just how our show looks.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I mean, this is airing on the nighttime show, and I want it to look official. I don't want it to be like bro talk. And I,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the majority of it, like if we go like 45 minutes, it's going to be for Fox Nation.
But nobody's going to watch it on Fox Nation. Nobody watches Fox Nation because...
because is Fox Nation their streaming service? I thought that was just Daily Wire, but is that their streaming service? Interesting.
Because the site sucks. So I'd really like to just dump the whole thing on YouTube.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just my view.
Fix your shit.
I'm just frustrated with it's hard to use that site. I don't know why they're not fixing it. It's driving me insane. And they're like making like Lifetime movies, but they don't.
You know what's interesting? Which also kind of sounds a lot like the production side of things with Daily Wire. Oh yeah, Gina Carano signed to an exclusive contract. Cool. She's been in one shitty, forgettable film. Fantastic stuff. You guys are really, changing the landscape of things. Sure thing. But yeah, for all the shit that Rumble was catching beforehand, just take a look over the past month, the leaps and bounds that all of the apps. I think that's still in that window of the redesign of the entire website. Now, for creators on the back end, it's still a little archaic, but the user experience for the end product, which is always the most important aspect, and also what Tucker is railing against. Listen, Fox Nation, I have no idea what it looks like, okay? I don't know how the service runs, but if he's saying that the experience is shit and nobody wants to use it, well, that's on you guys. You know what? Hey, man, he's going to be having one of the biggest, at the time, it was one of the biggest interviews, because it was, at least when it comes to outward mainstream interviews from Tate, like this one happened right off the first wave of cancellation. Like it was a pretty big boy that was out there. So yeah, if you're going to relegate it to a site that barely fucking works with all of the attention that it's going to drive there, so if you have a platform that is being held up by cellar tape and toothpicks, well, fuck, you start putting all of the fans of Tate into that website. That's gonna fucking overload the system. So yeah, he's talking about a shitty service. Fucking fix your crap, and then we might consider it. Other than, okay, just fuck it. We're just gonna go ahead and record it and release it on YouTube. Okay, so that's the full context. But this is apparently supposed to make him look bad, being an advocate for the people at the end of it. Weird.
Don't work on the infrastructure of the site? Like, what? It's crazy, and it drives me crazy because it's like we're doing all this extra work and no one can find it. It's...
Oh, and by the way, if you think that this looks kind of weird, it's like, oh, he's on set and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, this was going on right before they were going live. This is what they call a run-through in the business. So going over all of the, the regular story beats. Okay, here are the questions we're going to ask. Here's how long we're going to go on the segment. all of that crap that's out there. So yeah, that's why it's, because it kind of looks a little herky-jerky and the quality's not all that great, but it's also media matters, so you don't need to provide all that stuff. They just need to tell you that Fox Leaks, Tucker Carlson slammed Fox Nation in behind-the-scenes video. Yeah, okay.
Unbelievable, actually. I don't know who runs that site,
We're
but
going to play a sizable chunk on the show tomorrow night. That's the plan. And then what it's going to do is drive a lot of people to watch this on Fox Nation. It's going to be a great help to what we're doing over there on TV today.
I know, but we're doing our part. We're like working like animals to produce all this content, and the people in charge of it, whoever that guy's, whatever his name is, like they're ignoring the fact that the site doesn't work. And I think it's like a betrayal of our efforts. That's how I feel. So of course I resent it.
Yeah, look we're going to be doing this very important, very popular interview, and you want us to put it on a site that doesn't function? So we're putting all of our effort into this, okay? So we're doing all of the work. You guys just have to provide a platform where it's going to work, and you're not doing that, okay? So fuck off. I don't know, that was supposed to make them look bad? Okay, that's a weird fucking take, okay? So Tucker Carlson, prior to leaving Fox News, appeared to have critical things to say about Fox Nation streaming service, according to a leaked video. Nobody watches Fox Nation because the site sucks, Carlson said in a video, later adding, the site doesn't work. The video, obtained by Media Matters, a politically left-leaning, left-falling, left so far their heads up their ass media watchdog group, yes, where if you scroll through their entire Twitter account, holy, it's just all about, oh my god, Steven Crowder, can you believe that he made this joke? Like, they got clickbait headlines for their tweets. They're just doing everything completely wrong. But no, that's what they do. They're just a bunch of, old ladies just wagging their finger in the corner. Well, they can't wag anything else because, they're all wearing chastity belts. The two were discussing an arrangement to interview controversial right-wing personality Andrew Tate. Do we even need to go over how odd that description of Tate is? But whatever. The interview was ultimately conducted in August of 2022 on Tucker Carlson Today. I don't want to be a slave to Fox Nation, which I don't think that people watch anyway. Yeah, Carlson told the unknown person on the call, probably a producer, something like that. Oh no, it was his booking agent. That was the level of harassment that she ended up getting because they never met in person. Fox Nation, according to its own website, is an exclusive streaming service brought to you by Fox News. Fucking yuck. With entertaining and informative shows that highlight the unique stories, history, and people of America. Fucking gross. It really sounds like your one-stop shop for all of the stuff that you don't watch on Fox News to begin with. Nobody watches Fox Nation because the site sucks. It fucking thing sucks. It's got no words on it. I'm just frustrated with it. It's hard to use that site. I don't know why they're not fixing it. It's driving me insane. Yeah, you guys are the most watched, or at least at that point in time, the most watched cable show. And this was at the time when, was this that magical month when CNN Plus was on the air? See, at least that shit worked. Nobody was watching it, but you could theoretically watch it. Just nobody did. And they're making Lifetime movies, but they don't work on the infrastructure of the site. It's crazy. It drives me crazy because we're doing all this extra work and no one can find it. It's unbelievable. Actually, I don't know who runs that site. The Tate interview itself, Carlson also told the unknown person that he'd rather dump the whole thing on YouTube, referring to the interview with Tate. Interview with Tate on in August of 2022, mainly focused on Tate being banned from several social media platforms, including YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Uber, Stripe, Gumroad, Airbnb, everything that you can think of. My telephone was just lighting up with different information and different notifications of the different platforms I was getting silenced from. The Matrix was in full press court attack. After Carlson aired part of the interview on Fox News show, a chyron pops up that reads, to go watch the full Andrew Tate video on Fox Nation right after this show. Carlson Tonight was among cable's top-rated programs and the highest-rated, record-breaking cable news show that anybody's ever produced. Like, it's hilarious in a time where everybody's ratings on traditional mass media outlets are going through the floor. Tucker was the only one breaking all-time records, but hey, don't worry, man, he's gone because he says awful things like this. They've got a new one. Media Matters has another 1 minute long piece of content where behind the scenes video. Oh, Tucker Carlson talks about how he was how he was triggered by Dominion's lawyers, who he calls a slimy motherfucker during his deposition. Oh my God! So you've got leaked evidence that's already a part of court records. Okay.
Well, that was a week, I'll say.
Yeehaw!
Holy shit! 10 hours.
10 fucking hours. I had to talk
That
to
slimy little motherfucker sitting across from me. Oh, you're the best. And I wasn't talking about you. It's just the opposite.
He's giving me a complex.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so again, this is supposed to make him look bad. This makes him look like a really cool dude. Kind of like the Full Send interview, which I can't recommend more highly.
What do you mean? Because you've never been this affirmed in your life? I bet. Thank you, Alex. Have a happy weekend.
Monster.
Hey, man. The amount, it was so unhealthy, the hate, thank you, Teresa, the hate that I felt for that guy. I mean, what's he talking?
How could you not?
I never feel that way, you know, because I don't put myself, I don't
A
want to
slimy
feel that way.
lawyer, wow.
It's bad, it's totally bad for you to feel that way. But that guy...
This is what leftists think
triggered
is, you know,
the
somehow.
shit out of me. Where are you now? Where do you live? The amount of times I had, first of all, fuck you on my lips, it's like, it was unbelievable. Suggesting that I was cheating on my taxes?
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. So where are you domiciled? Where are you now? Do you own a home there? I was like, no, I do not own a home in Maine, Chicago.
Okay, cool. And then his PA shows up with some stuff. That's supposed to be a dunk? What the fuck, bro? Like, holy, I couldn't imagine working for one of those leftist outlets and then thinking that, oh, we got him this time with really relatable banter. Like, the fuck is going on here, man? Okay, like, if that's who Tucker actually is, because, yo, check this, okay? Patrick Bet David, okay, somebody who I hold in reasonably high regard, offers Tucker Carlson $100 million. That's a lot of money. But I'll be completely honest, man, okay? Just because PBD comes forward with $100 million means that Tucker Carlson's worth at least double that. Like, let's be completely honest. Ultimately, at the end of the day, like, we'll go through the offer sheet that's here, mostly because I find it to be completely interesting, and it's so much more than $100 million, but Tucker, I still think at the end of the day, ultimately signs an exclusive contract with Rumble and then talks about all of the crazy stuff that he wants to talk about. And yeah, all of those weirdly humanizing leaked videos from Media Matters just kind of leads me to believe that he's going to be incredibly fine by himself. Because that's one thing, okay? Tucker's worked everywhere. MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, starts his own media reporting outlet, The Daily Caller. The only thing that hasn't been tested on his resume is his ability, his own independent ability to be profitable without being propped up by a company on television, on screen. Obviously, with the Daily Caller, hey man, a wildly popular outlet. Can't dispute that at all whatsoever. It's still churning out to this day. So he did good stuff over there. It's just he's always had a network to prop him up. But with the different interviews that he's done beforehand, okay, those leaked, oh, we got you this time moments, and there's some other spicy stuff about, oh, he has racist text messages saying that he doesn't want white people to fall down the whole identity politics route, or yeah, he doesn't want to dehumanize Antifa fuckers that end up getting curb stomped. Yeah, that sounds like very detrimental stuff. And much like Tate, and the aforementioned Tate, Tucker Carlson is independently wealthy. Like, he doesn't need the $100 million. Like, he can go make that any time, any place that he wants. This is obviously the point where, okay, cool. It's a big eye-catching number. It's a lot of money to you and me. And I think it's over 5 years, but obviously we'll get into the specifics. So $20 million a year, you know what, hey, everything that you want to do, it'll be all for the benefit of you. And yeah, you can be on the board for, you know, Valuetainment and all that stuff. It's a very generous offer. But Tucker is kind of bigger than being a part of anything else at this point in time. I legitimately think he's the biggest signing that any single streaming platform, mainstream network can possibly get. He's that guy. He is 100% that guy. Like, even if you want to take a look at the other $100 million contract that was handed out to Joe Rogan, I think that Tucker smokes him in every single category. The closest one might be name recognition, but when it comes to put out compelling, broadly appealable content, like, Tucker wins 9 times out of 9, and I'll give you the one for free. Rogan, he's kind of languishing over on Spotify. When was the last time you heard, outside of CNN, just trying to pick the bones of the carcass that's over there and then end up getting smacked down because in an anticipation of just getting easy clout by picking on somebody on the internet, you didn't realize that those bones that you were trying to pick, oh yeah, that was actually killed off by the lion that was just over there on the Serengeti. Like, don't piss off Rogan, just let him go collect his paycheck over there and interview a bunch of, midwits, okay? Or they'll just go and discuss, mediocre topics over there. Like, literally, you can look at every qualitative piece of information that you want and realize that, his numbers just aren't up to snuff. But Tucker, on the other hand, if he has an entire platform behind him, one that is, on the come up, you take a look at the other mid to upper mid-tier streamers that Rumble has, like, they're building to something, and this would definitely be the jewel on the crown, and it seems like such a natural fit. Like, yeah, Rumble ended up getting its start for being the free speech platform, which naturally conservatives who have ultimately been at the forefront of being censored by all the different big tech platforms. So yeah, they gravitated over there. And then I would argue that Tate was the guy that really kicked off the different streamers to come on over to Rumble and then create a more viable alternative. It's the first time ever, because you take a look at the other platforms that have tried to come up in the aftermath of YouTube and Twitch's duopoly. D-Live, Mixer, they all decided to rest their laurels, put all their eggs in one singular basket. With Mixer, it was Ninja. With D-Live, it was PewDiePie, and I think D-Live still exists in some form or fashion, but PewDiePie, well, nobody was sticking around outside of a PewDiePie stream. And then Mixer ultimately folded up. But those guys, they got their bag, and it wasn't like Mixer was hard up for cash. It was owned and operated by Microsoft. Yeah, that one. D-Live, yeah, it still exists, but it's one of those platforms that you go on if you're just off of everything else. But you take a look at the way that Rumble has, built everything up. They gave a platform to a guy who was ostracized from everywhere else, backed it up with some cash, and then started to sign a bunch of other big names that were out there as well to build up a roster. They did it right. What's it? Kick over there on the other side? Nothing against them. It's just there's no incentive to go over there. Okay, cool. You want to watch Aiden Ross do some e-dates? Okay, well, you can get that exact same content that's over on Twitch as well. Like, best of luck over to Kick. It's just they would be smart to try to grab Tucker, but I don't know if it really appeals to all of the kids that want to watch guys gamble. Like, I don't really know about that. So ultimately, well, I think that it's a good idea, and definitely one of those platforms was and probably are making similar offers. It's just PBD made the most public one, and well, he's got some pretty good incentives, but we'll see where this goes, okay? So Patrick Bet-David, CEO of online content company Valuetainment. Yeah, he also ended up starting his own insurance company, but he did sell that off anyways. Offered former Fox News host Tucker Carlson a $100 million deal over 5 years. So yeah, 20 per. Yeah, that makes sense. Plus a board seat at his company in a high-profile courting attempt on Tuesday. Dear Tucker, I'll get right down to the point. We want you to partner with us in what we feel is a noble and necessary effort, buddy, to define the future of media. David. That's the weirdest way. It's normally Bet David. Okay. Who also hosts the Valuetainment brand podcast and the main channel, which is Valuetainment. But okay, this is somebody who knows of the brand, but doesn't really know all that much. It's like, I already wrote a Tucker story, so I'll do this one. Who's involved? Some people on the internet wrote in the opening letter of intent posted on Twitter on May 2nd. The letter outlines David's offer to Carlson $100 million over 5 years, an equity stake in Valuetainment, which is very lucrative. And it's funny because right now I'm reading your next 5 moves, and this is one of those incentives that he would use in order to retain some some high-performing people inside of his insurance company at the time. It's just weird that all of this comes together, but it totally makes sense if you've been listening to him whenever he was talking about, did you hear recently on Tucker, buddy? It was crazy what he was talking about. This guy really knows some things. He's a needle mover, kind of like my friend Joe Rogan. Ugh. So yes, outside of the catchy $100 million, 5 years, equity stake in Valuetainment, a position as president of Valuetainment, very impressive as well, because you'd get also more incentives there as well. A board seat and other content Carlson may be interested in covering. So anything that you want to cover, and you get an equity stake, and you have somewhat ownership in the company. So yeah, you would be incentivized to make the company go in a direction that is profitable and the way you want to go. And he showed the capacity to build up a brand in some form or fashion. And yeah, this is what you'd have to do to attract somebody. It's a good looking offer, and it's definitely a place that you can start negotiate with, but I still think Tucker's going to go independent because he really doesn't need anybody's help. He doesn't need anybody's brand as long as he's competent in his ability to perform, or confident in his ability to perform. It's obviously going to attract the next person who shows up that's somewhat on this level. I couldn't even philosophize who's out there. I don't think Don Lemon's getting these public contracts. I don't think the Young Turks is setting out, oh, listen, okay, we need to get Don Lemon, of course, $50 million, yo, we need him over here, okay, look, right, listen, okay. I don't think that's going on over there. At least, well, maybe Media Matters is covering it. I don't know. What else? Well, we are all ears, Bet David wrote. Our convictions are freedom, liberty, and the truth run deep, and we believe that we are the absolute right fit for you and America. Well, yeah, of course, that's what you'd put out there, but yeah. With the motto of to enlighten, entertain, and empower, Valuetainment currently publishes its content, including podcasts and interviews, on YouTube and other social media platforms. Its YouTube channel has over 4 million subscribers. Well, I think the main channel, is over 4 million. The podcast channel is 750, maybe a little higher than that, and a bunch of other channels as well. And they have Jedediah Bila on there as well. So yeah, they've shown that they can transition regular mass media pundits into rather successful podcast hosts themselves, because you take a look at what Jedediah's doing, and she's actually pretty decent at that stuff. I've watched a fair few of her interviews. She's quite good at her job, and she seems to be authentic when she's doing her thing. So yeah, she already has over 120,000 subs in just about a year's time. So yeah, it's very, very popular, and there's a lot to like. It's just I still think Tucker's bigger than all of this. Yeah, the social media platforms on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter all have a following of over 10 million. Okay, the brand's podcast, PBD Podcast, ranks 12th on Spotify in the platform's business category as of writing. It's kind of a business podcast. The way that they try to spin it is the podcast for entrepreneurs. Like, I listen from time to time. Adam Sosnick's a big fucking blue-pilled simp, and he annoys me to no end. So yeah, I occasionally check it out if there's a rather interesting guest. But to say that they're a business podcast is not all that accurate, really. But yeah, Brand's podcast has hosted prominent figures in various fields, including late basketball superstar Kobe Bryant, but he wasn't on the podcast. Okay, Peterson was, RFK was, Alan Dershowitz. I think that those are probably interviews that happened on the main channel. Neil deGrasse Tyson, or he was talking some dumb shit, but that's interesting. And Robert Kiyosaki, investor Robert Kiyosaki, rich dad, poor dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Whoever wrote this article is not all that familiar with the subject matter, but in an interview in the with talk show host Megyn Kelly, who I would think, don't be surprised if she doesn't move back to Fox News and takes Tucker's old spot. If I'm to take a wild guess as to if there's going to be one independent voice that moves back to traditional media, it's going to be Megyn Kelly in some form or fashion. That might be one of my wilder predictions, but I don't think I'm going to be wrong in that one. On Tuesday, Bet David, a refugee who fled Iran to America at the age of 12. Well, actually, he went from Iran to a refugee camp in Germany, and then eventually came to Southern California when he was 12. But we don't need to get into the specifics, right? Said Carlson should work with him because he has the vision, the vision in place, the cause in place, and a true believer on how great of a country America is that's worth fighting for. Well, that's fantastic. Then why do you need Tucker in order to accomplish this? And what would Tucker actually benefit from you outside of lending him him. Like, this seems like a one-way proposal. Sure, you get a lot of equity, but that's only valuable if he's that dude. You guys apparently are going to be fine, which obviously they're going to. Like, they only benefit from making this offer public. Tucker's going to be successful wherever he goes. If he goes independent, wildly successful. Incredibly popular. He won't have any shackles at all from anybody. So why would he need to jump from one network to another unless, of course, he wants that safety net? There are very few people left in America, left at the level who have made the money that's about the true cause. I think Tucker's one of them. Yeah, exactly. That's why he has the opportunity to go independent, like Tate before him, and that's ultimately where I think he's going. So yes, this right here is much so less an offer for Tucker Carlson to come over and join Valuetainment as a statement of intent that the next time somebody on that level, maybe not quite on Tucker's level because that's such a black swan event, but somebody rises up through the ranks, ends up outgrowing their platform, if they want to come over during contentious contract talks like Steven Crowder did beforehand, well, here, hey, Valuetainment's serious in this area. The smart play. It's not going to yield the results that you want. Maybe it will. Maybe I'm going to be completely wrong and they're going to be at the negotiating table for a long period of time, but I'll be interested to see. Long story short. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.